I'm John Batchelor. This is the John Batchelor Show. Mr. Avlon of CNN and the Daily Beast is here, and we're going to discuss a line that we heard tonight from our colleague Tegan Goddard that we both like a lot, that what we have seen in these last hours by the President of the United States is that the Democratic President, in conjunction, we believe, with the Democratic majority in Congress, House and Senate, overwhelming majorities, have now come together to validate, to enshrine, to endorse the major domestic achievement of the Bush administration.
It is a remarkable moment, and folks on the left are fuming over this. Yes. Fire Dog Lake, yes. Huffington Post. You see the agony of the president being sort of stuck in the middle. He is trying to play conciliator-in-chief. I think it's clear at this point that that is his natural mode. And it's one of the downsides of having a legislator in the executive office with no executive experience today. This is supposed to be his grand compromise, showing that he has heard, in effect, the lessons of the 2010 election, and he is committed to not playing politics, as he would put it, with people's with the economy. The problem here is that the Republicans seem to be calling the shots. Democrats gained very little. Dick Durbin may have gained a 2% cut in the payroll tax, but otherwise it is a massive tax cut with a stimulus in nature. And deficit hawks, anyone out there who wanted to cut the deficit and the debt, they are on the sidelines tonight. So the left is furious, the right's not going to give them any credit, and if you care about the deficit and the debt, there's very little to cheer.
It's not a done deal.
That's correct.
It's a proposed framework.
That's right.
Lots of things can go wrong. We have a Senate that is lame, and a lot of those senators have nothing to lose but to be very aggressive on this. Same for the House of Representatives. But I want to concentrate on the left. If there was ever an invitation to primary the president, to aggrandize yourself if you are no longer in office, such as Russ Feingold or Howard Dean, this is the moment.
Yeah, that's right. But look, it requires Democrats to really have no sense of history. History is pretty clear on this one. Let's look at 1980. It's the obvious parallel.
Right.
You had Carter run as sort of as a Rorschach candidate.
Ted Kennedy.
And Ted Kennedy primarying him from the left. And remember, the hit on Carter from the Democratic Party's perspective is that he wasn't left enough. Right. That's why Ted Kennedy was challenging. Of course, Carter was seen by the electorate at large and is seen in the eyes of history as being too liberal. This is a fundamental tension. This points to a fundamental fault line in the Democratic Party. And if they don't read their history books, if they don't really understand the negative impact that Ted Kennedy had on Jimmy Carter, thus giving the Democratic Party Ronald Reagan, you know, those who don't learn history are doomed to repeat it. And Democrats should be reading their history books tonight.
I remind both of us, however, after the defeat of '94, Bill Clinton, it was not obvious to everybody or to anybody that he was going to be able to repair what damage had happened to his first administration. And I recall the articles in the New York Times, and I didn't have access to anything more than what I read in the newspaper at that time. There were Democratic senators led by Bill Bradley who were discussing a primary challenge. They dropped that quickly. The Clinton administration worked immediately to stop that.
That's right.
The Obama administration is going to have to work equally as effectively.
Well, and the only person to ultimately follow through with that primary challenge was Robert Casey,
right.
Father of the current Pennsylvania senior senator, Bob Casey. And he was effectively shot down and denied even a speaking role at the convention. But, you know, the Bill Clinton's focus after the Republicans won, he did triangulate, he did recenter himself, but the focus was on deficit reduction.
Right.
Here you have a focus on doubling down on tax cuts. It is to some extent the victory of, I think, the pro-growth philosophy and the supply-siders. And the balanced budget approach, which seemed to dominate during the 1990s, has been left by the wayside because of the economic downturn.
John Avlon of the Daily Beast. The president has made his announcement. Now we wait for the Senate, especially the Democratic Senate, to endorse its own president with regard to Bush tax cuts. I'm John Batchelor. This is the John Batchelor Show. Good day.